everybody, welcome back. So today I'm doing my weekly wrap-up or my reading vlog for this week. And it's been a little bit of a slow week for me reading-wise. I've been training all weekend, but I did get some things read. I'm going to start with my treat, and it comes from the Chocolate Cake Mix Doctor is Anne Bryan. And from this book this week I made a chocolate banana cake with cinnamon chocolate glaze. This is what happens in my house when we have leftover bananas, because for several weeks my family eats lots of bananas and then suddenly they stop eating lots of bananas and we have leftovers. So I make cake out of it. I finished 3 books this week. First one was Pawn's Gambit by Rob Hayes. It's a fantasy standalone in the Mortal Techniques series, but I guess they all take place in the same world, but they're not. They're all standalones. The other one is Never Die, and I really have enjoyed both of these books from this series. I think that Rob Hayes writes really well. I got some great quotes from these. And the only downside that I have for them is that I wish they were longer. I would love to spend a couple hundred more pages with the characters. And for as short as they are, I find the character work to be really amazing. All the characters have their own nuances and own things about them that just make it so that you know like who it is that they're talking about. And the plots are kind of simple, but they are in no way does it take away from the books. And this one and the other one, they're both really good. I really like them. I will be waiting for his next books to come out. The next book I finished was called True Facts That Sound Like BS. 500 Insane But True Facts That Will Shock and Amaze Your Friends. This book is by Carley. I read this book because I guess at work I've become known as the person with a lot of fun facts, and I kind of ran out of some fun facts, so I had to look up some more. I thought it was pretty good. I learned a couple of things, like horned lizards shoot blood out of their eyes up to 3 feet, and a blue whale's heart is as big as a car, which means you was one that I was listening to on Audible with my kids. It was called Embers of Destruction, and this is by Scott Savage. This is the final book in the Mysteries of Cove. And just like the others, it was pretty good. It had a good storyline and good characters and everything, and I was appreciative that the author took a little risks at the end, and I'll just leave it at that. Just like the others in the series, there were a few times where they had a little too much of a convenience plots and different things like that. This is a story about the city of Cove. It is a place where innovation and creativity are banned. And there's a group of kids who decide to, things happen and they end up leaving the city. And this is what happens to them after they've left the city and why the city of Cove existed at all. It was pretty good. Me and my boys liked it. Alright, so those are the books that I finished. Currently I'm reading Shadowmarch by Tad Williams. This is the first book in the Shadowmarch series. This is a high fantasy series. And I am really enjoying it. There was a war between the humans, I guess, and the Quar, which seems like the Fae. Fae were driven back, and they created a line of the shadow, and it's kind of like a deep fog. All of the Quar live in the shadow realm, and the humans live on the outside. But now the Quar have decided that they want to retake their lands and they want to drive the humans out, so they are coming to attack them. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. It has kind of multiple perspectives. Tad Williams is one of my favorite fantasy authors. I really liked Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, and I also like the Otherland series that he wrote. The second book that I'm reading, or actually listening to on Audible, is called Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And I was actually really enjoying this book. It was a lot of fun. It had some good characteristics, some good characters, some fun fantasy. There's the city of Weep, who is being oppressed by the children of the gods that the warriors of Weep wiped out a while ago. Few of the children of the gods that they didn't get, and these children are causing havoc in the city of Weep. The people of Weep go out and they gather all these people from other areas and other places in the world to come and help them solve the problem of the gods' children. I was really enjoying this, but unfortunately, like all YA fantasies, there's always a romance in there, and sometimes they're fine and they don't bother me, but this one really did. It just went on for chapters and chapters. I'm almost finished with it, but I just want to get back to the story. I don't want to know about how they're kind of throwing everything to the wind just so that their relationship and their love can, I don't know, because it's really distracting and I just want to get back to the story. Third book that I'm reading is The Burning Maze by Riordan. This one's another one that I'm almost finished with, and this is the third book in the Trials of Apollo. It follows Apollo, who is a Greek god. He pissed Zeus off, and Zeus kicked him out of Olympus, and now he's a human, and he has to complete all these trials so that he can become a god again. It's just a lot of fun. It's a middle grade fantasy stories retelling based on Greek mythology. This one I'm kind of liking more than the other two because I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of spoilers for any of his other series. The last one that I'm currently listening to with my kids is called Wonder by R.J. Palacio, and this is a middle grade story about a boy in 5th grade who has facial deformities. He hasn't been able to go to school before, and it's just his struggles as he's trying to go to school, and not only his struggles but his family and his friends. I'm really enjoying it. There was a movie that came out, and as I'm listening to the book I keep going, man, that would have been a great scene to put in the movie, but obviously I understand that they can't put everything in there. But there are some things that just would have been cool to have in there. So those are the ones I'm currently reading. Actually, all of them I'm almost finished with, so I should finish those up in a couple of days. And I'm going to be picking up a couple of things when I'm done with those. First one I'll be picking up is Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. This book is by Gregory Maguire. I believe this is part of a series, but this is a retelling of The Wizard of Oz from the perspective of the Wicked Witch of the West. Apparently she's not really evil, she's just misunderstood. So I'm excited to see what this is all about. The second book ended pretty interesting and on a cliffhanger, so I just will be excited to see how it all wraps up. And Kings of Heaven by Richard Nell. This is the final book in the Ash and Sand trilogy. This is a grimdark fantasy. Again, the second book ended really well. Not really on a huge cliffhanger, but enough that I was like, oh, I have to know what happens next. And so I'll be picking that up and get to see how that ends. So those are all the books that I'm currently reading, what I plan to pick up next, and the ones that I finished this week. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'm going to go ahead and enjoy some cake while I'm reading. I post new videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays.